The wait is almost over. With the 20 million downloads campaign on the horizon, we will finally receive the free SSR Ticket! All masters that have cleared the Orléans Singularity will have the opportunity of choosing between 25 unlimited 5-star servants, who can become permanent additions to your Chaldea so long as 2 conditions are met. The first is to upgrade them to their first ascension, the second to get them to Bond level 5, both in an approximate time frame of 2 months. Now, who is the best pick? Well, it's really quite simple. Whoever you want to pick. FGO is at its finest when people use the servants they love and cherish most. So, pick with your heart. That said, for those who do want to make a slightly more meta-oriented pick, here are 10 options Masters should definitely consider for the SSR Ticket. The first is actually a pair of servants, and perhaps a controversial combination at that, not least for the pair themselves. The original Saber, Artoria Pendragon, and her offspring, Mordred. On the surface, the King of Knights and Knight of Treachery appear rather fittingly as 2 sides of the same coin. They both utilize powerful Buster area of effect noble phantasms stemming from magical swords. Both have identical command card decks. Both possess A-ranked mana bursts and drop stars. And both even come with a 30% battery. Yet for all these similarities, there are significant, irrefutable differences just beneath the surface. Artoria, ever the selfless king, possesses a party-wide charisma rank B buff. Mordred, by contrast, has really no knights to lead. But what she sacrifices in companionship, she trades for her third skill, Secret of Pedigree rank EX, which grants her a sizable 1-turn 50% defensive buff and clears all debuffs. An essential combination that allows Mordred to simultaneously shake off annoying hindrances and tank otherwise fatal damage. Artoria lacks such protection, her defense about as strong as her marriage to Guinevere. But where the pair truly differ is in how their offense has specialized since the game's inception. Mordred furthers her nature as a fiery ball of offensive firepower with an all-new Buster crit niche, upgrading her base intuition skill into Cigarette Lion rank B+, improving her critical damage by up to 50% for 3 hits over 3 turns. This also generates stars and increases her Buster star gather rate for 1 turn, allowing Mordred to land brutal Buster critical hits. By contrast, Artoria, ever the paragon of regality, instead reflects a more refined niche. She will soon improve her mana burst into Dragon Reactor Core, releasing her near unmatched latent magical energy. Retaining her Buster buff, she also gains a 1-turn 30% NP damage buff, and more notably, turns every command card she has to Buster for that turn, wielding the full power of her holy sword to vanquish her foes with righteous fury. A combination of a noble phantasm and Buster attacks that are worthy of a figure of such legendary stature. Both Mordred and Artoria are incredibly powerful area of effect sabers, able to easily dispatch waves of enemies, and yet they still both possess a dynamic offense. Mordred's superior defense and critical damage potential make her a more self-sustainable option, whereas Artoria's clean and clear-cut offense makes Excalibur all that more powerful. Both Mordred and Artoria are impressive servants, and either one would make a great pick for the 2022 SSR Ticket. Free at last from the binds of her ceiling, the worldwide server's leading art support offers one of the most enjoyable and multi-dimensional kits of any major support. From her 3-turn significant and targetable arts buff, and her party-wide NP damage boost, to a multifaceted Noble Phantasm that offers battery, healing, and even party skill cooldown reduction benefits. The kit even allows her to potentially delay enemy Noble Phantasms, but of course, many masters are rather concerned. With the release of a certain mysterious caster A, will Tamamo become irrelevant and obsolete? A forgotten relic of a bygone era, forever condemned to mediocrity for the rest of a putrid existence? Rumours of her demise are indeed premature. Her unique skill set, including a party-wide NP damage buff for 3 turns, as well as the various effects on her Noble Phantasm, make Tamamo no Mai an asset in any arts lineup, while she also operates very well alongside other significant supports, including Wave of Velvet and, yes, Mysterious Caster A. However, while Tamamo is certainly distinct from MCA, there is indeed some overlap, especially vis-a-vis the other options available with this ticket. So, masters who are set on rolling for the 5th anniversary servant might want to steer clear, as the latter rightfully claims her title as the game's best servant. However, if this isn't an issue for you, then go ahead, as this fox can make a tremendous addition to any Chaldea. The Sun King, Ramesses II, Ozymandias, is a pharaohrific single-target rider who, much like his Noble Phantasm, rises to become a leading servant in his class. As befitting a divine and majestic leader, he boasts B-ranked charisma and the ever-mercurial imperial privilege, at somehow a lower rank than Nero. But his undoubted best skill, symbolic of his greatness and care for his people, is his 3rd, Protection of the Sun God rank A, which comes with 2 top-tier effects. The first is a rare party-wide 20% battery, and the second increases buff success rate, again of the entire party, by up to 40%. Along with the battery, this provides excellent support to many allies, as well as Ozymandias himself, guaranteeing the activation of the notoriously temperamental Imperial Privilege. This all lays the groundwork for the centerpiece of his kit, the Grand Buster Noble Phantasm, Ramesseum Tentiris, that seals the NP and reduces the defense of any who somehow survive its glorious might. But what makes Ozymandias such a powerful servant is not his current kit, however impressive that may be, but what he will become over the next 15 months. For Ozymandias will receive 2 highly significant buffs that will make him potentially peerless amongst his rider brethren. The first upgrades his charisma to Pharaoh of the Hot Sands rank A, which in addition to slightly improving the attack bonus of the skill, also sees Ozymandias drop 10 critical stars and increase party-wide critical damage by up to 30%, with both effects lasting for 3 turns. On one condition: that he is fighting on a sunlit battlefield. To get around battlefields that are not sunlit, he answers this quandary with a second buff, enabling him to bring the sun to where there's none. Ozymandias later receives a second buff, upgrading his already immensely powerful Noble Phantasm. In addition to improving its damage output, the upgrade grants Ozymandias the status of being on a sunlit battlefield for a monstrous 5 turns, allowing him to take full advantage of his newfound buff. Better still, his NP will also reduce the cooldown of his skills by 1. Yet another fantastic benefit for an already phenomenal servant. Ozymandias, the King of Kings. Perhaps the most surprising name on this list, Vlad III is nevertheless a powerful, long-term investment in Fate's Grand Order. A capable boss killer possessing both a battery and sufficient defensive tools to keep himself alive in spite of his berserker class. One of FGO's few Eastern European servants will soon combine with a certain mysterious caster to form one of the deadliest looping duos the game has seen to date. His recent buff, following the Fate Apocrypha rerun event, not only gave him multiple guts, but a 3-turn NP gain steal, the effect of which is magnified due to his Art's Noble Phantasm that features no fewer than 10 hits, allowing for significant refund. Not only that, unlike most berserkers, Vlad has a double Arts deck, facilitating easier Arts chains and NP gain, which can also potentially make use of the significant number of stars he drops via his Noble Phantasm's after effect. But it is upon the worldwide server's 5th anniversary that Vlad unleashes his full potential, as he can be paired with mysterious Caster A. She not only provides him battery, protection, and significantly amplifies his damage, but her arts and NP gain buffs help the Lancer of Black achieve phenomenal NP gain, to the point of becoming a potentially lethal NP looper. Better still, he is one of the game's rare servants to have had his Noble Phantasm upgraded twice, further increasing its potency and hitting surviving enemies with an Arts Resistance debuff, allowing for even greater damage and NP gain from his attacks. Now, he is far from perfect. Despite being a very competent berserker, with especially good Noble Phantasm damage following his NP's double upgrade, he probably wouldn't be making the top 10 if it weren't for his relationship with mysterious Caster A. There are other units who are far more self-sufficient and useful on their own, with Vlad's true potential only really coming out when he is surrounded by a group of competent support such as mysterious Caster A. So if you do plan on taking Vlad, then do bear that in mind. But for those who do want the Impaler, a potentially bright future awaits! Waver Velvet is the best meta pick with the SSR Ticket in 2022. This is a fairly uncontroversial statement and has a great deal of evidence behind it. Few servants can compete with the sheer utility he brings to the party for both newer and older masters alike. Jude Leon brings 50% battery to the team, 20% party-wide and 30% at a single target, making him instrumental in farming and 3-turn setups alike, while also helping to fuel the battery of powerful boss-killing servants as well. But this distribution of battery, which is in of itself already revolutionary, is merely the tip of the proverbial iceberg. Each buff on its own is fantastic. A party-wide 30% attack boost that dwarfs almost any charisma, a hefty 3-turn 50% critical damage buff, and the largely overlooked defensive buff on Tactician's Advice, which acts as a significant 3-turn shield for the team. The battery, general applicability, quality, and versatility of these skills all serve to make Waver a formidable support. And yet, he offers more than even this. His Noble Phantasm unreturning formation discombobulates the enemy, attacking them on both ends. Offensively, it reduces the NP gauge of all enemies by 1, potentially saving the team from incoming Noble Phantasms and allowing Masters to at least partially take control of the flow of the battle. But it is also effective at debilitating enemy defenses, directly lowering their defense in addition to afflicting them with curse and even a potential stun. This combination of battery, fantastic skills, and a 2-way Noble Phantasm makes Waver a highly effective servant, and one that can work in any team, in any situation, and with any servant. For those currently without the Master Strategist, Waver is undoubtedly the meta pick, with very few downsides. If I had to be critical at all, It is perhaps that given his versatility, having a general kit that can fit any lineup, Waver's peak is arguably lower than some of the other major supports. And his kit, whilst functionally useful, isn't as flashy as many of the alternatives available with this ticket. But if you are looking for the best gameplay aid your Chaldea can receive, don't have any specific requirement, and are especially lacking in any major supports, Waver might just be the man for you. That concludes part 1 of our top 10 SSR picks for this SSR ticket in 2022. Leave in the comments below who you intend to pick, and also try and predict who's going to be in part 2. I've been Steam Dunes, thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, please feel free to like and subscribe to the channel to keep up with future videos, including part 2 for this video, and I'll see you soon.